Buenos dias.
Hello.
Hey girl.
Hey guys. How are you?
How are you today?
Good. Thumbs up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Becky. So I wanted to, if I can lead the convo today, if you ladies don't mind, or I can give you my thought or what came on my mind today as I was laying on my bed. Well, I was reminded that last week I had the thought of, I don't know where I was or what happened last week because I don't recall. However, I remember saying like there's a tremble or like there's a shaking or when you're on the cups of something and there's a tremble. It reminds me of like how the ground shifts. That just came to me. That was nothing but the Lord. How the ground shifts to the new atmosphere or in the earthquakes. That's what it reminded me of. So I was thinking today, and I was like, break. What does break mean? What is? And I was just started asking myself all these questions about break. And I was like, what does a break mean? Break means to separate into pieces, or to split or reduce into fragments. So in my mind, I was thinking of, I was like, well, what is the purpose of something breaking? Why does something have to break? And then I thought about this, like maybe like a pole or maybe a stick. We'll say a stick, right? Because it's easier for us to imagine. So say I have a stick and I break the stick, and I was thinking, what needs to take place in order for this stick to break, and what's the significance of anything breaking?
Okay. We're following.
So then, therefore, no. So I was like, breaking. It's done by force. That means that it has to be not shaped, but something for. So say I want two pieces. I have one piece. What do I have to do for this one piece to become two? It has to be broken. Basically, it's something that has to take place, right? And then I was like, well, what's the driving force behind me breaking this? It's not, in talking spiritual sense, when you're breaking something, it's not in your own strength. You need the pushing force or backing force of the Holy Spirit in order for something to break, right? So then, because you know, they haven't joined in yet, so I can give you my whole spiel. So then I thought of, what is that? Red Rover, let Cynthia come over. And I was thinking of the chain of bodies together, and when people run to get through the chain, they don't always make it through, right? Because they don't have that driving force behind them to push them through.
Okay, so you're making me think about Newton's law.
Okay.
Law of force. So I can't think of it verbatim, but one of his laws says for every action in nature there is an equal and opposite reaction. In other words, saying forces result from interactions. So if there is, in order for this to move, a stronger force has to be.
Right, a stronger force.
So I don't want to move that, but when you think about breaking and moving, there is a force that has to cause something to bend. There's a force that has to cause something to be shifted. When you said something about earthquake, I think about an earthquake, how the ground will shift and shake from underneath you. If you're in a house, sometimes they're so strong, the stuff on the walls will fall down. It'll shift the foundation in your house. It'll shift the foundation in buildings. It's a strong force. Excuse me. It's a strong force, and what has to happen in order for things to break?
Oh wait, pause. Right, so this is what it made me think of. You know how in karate they have like the stacks of bricks? I remember seeing this when I was a little girl. Or was it Bruce Lee in the movies? It was like stacks of brick. And when you know how they push down on it? I don't know what they do. They be like, ah. And every single piece of brick breaks. Every single plate. It's
wood. Yeah, that's what someone was telling me. Well, speaking of motion,
Go ahead.
motion, but I think you're mentioning the law of motion, which it made me think motion, the law of motion. There's there's 3 laws of motion. But someone was talking to me about fighting, and he was saying one of the things you learn in a certain type of fighting, he said, you don't go against the force, you flow with the force. So he said if somebody's punching you, you flow with the force instead of going against it, because he said it takes more energy to go against the force than to go with the force and then come back.
Say that one more again. Say that one more again. You said it takes more to go.
It takes more effort and energy to go against the force than to go with the force and then come back.
Think about swimming in water, and say you're in a stream and you're trying to swim upstream and the water is coming this way. Think about how much energy it takes to go against it, to try to get how much you're exerting to go against what's coming this direction. Such is life. Sometimes change comes, we resist it.
Oh, go ahead, I love it. Go ahead.
You gotta go ahead now.
No, I was gonna say that's what I thought of. So when you're trying to break something, there's a resistance that the object has. It's a resistance. Oh, this is so crazy. So I was on my way to go pick up someone, and I just put on the YouTube for a little bit, and the guy said, I don't even remember exactly what he said in fullness, but I heard him say, you have to push past the resistance. And I was like, oh, break. It just, for me, it was just one of those, okay. So the resistance of it, so there's going to be a pushback, right? Or there's going to be a resistance. And yes, it's hard, right? But you have to turn to your neighbor and say, what do I want you guys to say?
You want us to say, let me tell you, you stay there.
We want you to just stay there and get
break through this one.
Down in this ditch.
Break through
I like that. Turn to your neighbor and say, break through this one. Break through this one. I love it. So then my thought also went to a shoe. Right?
Okay, go ahead, make it work.
Now, my thought of the shoe was the breaking process. You know how people say you gotta break in your shoes.
I gotta break in these new shoes.
Right. So a lot of people say that, and then I was thinking, I said,
excited.
excuse me, I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
So then I was thinking about a shoe. I said you have to break in a shoe. It's not that you cannot fit the shoe. Right. You can fit the shoe. And then I was, I don't know if you ever went to go, some people, there's a shoe store, you have to go get, like, for your feet to get if you have if you're flat-footed or whatever, and anyways, it's like these special shoes. So I went to the store one time, and I was trying on these shoes, and I was so frustrated, and I'll be honest, and I was trying on the shoes, and these shoes hurt so bad. Yet these shoes would fix the problem.
Okay.
And the guy was saying, you have to wear the shoes for 15 minutes and then take your shoe off and then put your other shoe back on, put the old shoe back on. And I'm thinking, why am I gonna pay hundreds of dollars for a shoe that I have to wear 15 minutes? It's basically gonna take time for me to break into the shoe.
Yeah, so it's taking time for you to get to the point to where you have caused damage. It's gonna take time to break away from the damage that you caused and to correct the problem.
To break.
Think about that. I think you need to say that again.
She said to break. Come on.
Okay, I know what you're talking about, because when you're flat-footed, you go get the shoes to help create an arch. And that part hurts.
Yeah.
Because I'm flat-footed, and then I think about sometimes when you are in, and then when you break in that shoe, it begins to it gets comfortable. It becomes more wearable. And I want to say, such is life. Sometimes you go through something and it is uncomfortable, and then Lillian just said, as long as it took for you to get into that, and you broke your, it took,
she's about to say 15 years to break it.
it took time, and it's going to take time to come out of that. They say about habits, if you do it for 21 days, you can break a habit. If you do something consistently 21 days, you can break a habit. It's things you have to break off, and you can't knock that process. You can't escape that breaking. You can't escape that uncomfortableness. It's gonna be uncomfortable. It's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be a place where you're going to have to be like, you may be like, am I alone? I'm frustrated, I'm irritated. But think about the pearl, the process that it goes through, that force in order for it to turn into a pearl.
some of the most beautiful things go through the force to be what they are. A diamond.
A diamond,
A pearl.
olive oil. The olive oil is a process. Like an olive has to go through the beating, pressing, the shaking in order for oil to flow out of it. So I just want to say this to you, like your beating, your pressing, your shaking is not in vain. There's a flow coming to you. There's going to be a flow coming to you. I read something that said there are 7 bodies of water, and God chose my belly for rivers of living water to flow out of. Rivers of living water. There's a flow that's coming out of you, and in that flow is going to be things that will unlock creativity, opportunities, witty ideas, whatever's in that flow. And the thing is, you got to get in that flow. You got to
Turn it and say, stay there, stay there,
The
stay
two
there,
things
stay there.
that I wanted to say, you hit on my shoulder hard.
I'm sorry.
I was just talking to someone, they were talking about sacrifice. And as we were coming and parking to come here, it was in my spirit. It said it's going to take sacrifice to elevate, to go up. It's going to take sacrifice. But as I was driving home, I saw a young man that had some shorts on, and they were much smaller than his body. They was so much smaller than his body. They was underneath his cheeks, in between his thighs, and he was waddling. He was like walking like this because he was forcing himself in something that he had outgrown.
I like
And I
that.
got the revelation. Why are you forcing yourself into something you have obviously outgrown? You have obviously surpassed this point, but you keep forcing yourself to get back into something that you do not belong in. And you talk about force.
She preaching today. I ain't got nothing. That was good.
You talking about breaking force.
Wow.
And you're talking about some good things. We're withholding good things from ourselves by forcing ourselves to be in something we have outgrown.
Right.
That was good. I wanna, cause I like to joke. I wanna make a joke and say, well, did he just not break into the shorts yet?
I mean, it could be a good force. It could be a good force. It could be a bad force. I mean, you can toss that either which way you want. You need to toss it.
Yeah.
But I think that we're gonna wrap it up. But I think that you said something to me earlier today, and I don't necessarily want to repeat it, but it struck such a chord in me when you said, it was along the lines like, I don't think this is the best. You said, if you can continue to wait, if you can continue to hold out, it was just like, I don't think that's the best. But you were just like, if you can keep waiting. I was like, God, no.
Who said that to you, Lillian?
I was like, God, no, you wait. But sometimes people can come in your life, and they can stop your flow. They can be that roadblock. They can be that. This could be another conversation, a part 2. But they can come in and be like that dam that stops up blocks. And sometimes we don't want to wait for certain things, and we want something to come now. We want it to come when we want it to come, and that's not the case. The fact is, don't let it stop your flow. Don't let people stop your flow.
Wow. So,
Before we finish, I had thought this today. I was sitting down and I was thinking about something, and in my mind, I heard, I've created you. What you have, I've created you specifically for the person that needs it. And as I was thinking that, I was like, my goodness. And then it was like, are you praying for him? Are you praying for him?
that's real. That's real. Look, I feel like we on part 2. Look, can we be on part 2?
There's part 2.
So let's do this. Part 2.
Part 2.
Thank you guys
Welcome
for
back,
tuning
y'all.
in to.
Yay.
Wait, we gotta close that one out.
Okay.
So thank you guys for tuning in to Now Let's Get Chatty. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, share all that good
Subscribe.
stuff.
Yes.
You guys join the conversation. Recognize when you're in a new space. and say this is the season. This season is a little different, and move with it. Right. Peace out.
All right, come back next week, part 2.